So this story is big news all over the world. A cyanide serial killer has poisoned 15 people. One of them has been lucky to survive. Police have dubbed her Cyanide. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty on this story, but first I want to find somewhere a little bit quieter. So I thought I'd do this part of the video in Lumpini Park because not only is there lots of peace and tranquility, there's also lots of wide open space. So if anyone comes running towards me with a bottle of cyanide, I'll see him coming a mile off. What do you mean running towards you with a bottle of cyanide? That's nuts. No, what I mean is it's a hint to the other part of the story that I'm going to tell them later on. Capiche? So, welcome to a cyanide-themed breaking news. This is all about a 35-year-old woman called Miss Sararat Rangsawittiporn, a master manipulator who would scam, cheat and trick her way into the lives of wealthy people. She had lots of credit card debt. She was 4 months pregnant with her boyfriend, who was one of the victims. She would kill her victims by lacing their food and drink with cyanide or offering herbal medicine also laced with cyanide. The killings took place between 2015 and this year in several provinces around the country, and the age range of her victims was 33 to 45. So she would worm her way into the lives of these rich people, earning their trust before extracting their money from them in various ways, including pyramid schemes, lottery scams, bogus investments, or just borrowing money. When they inquired about getting their money back, she would invite them out to lunch or on a trip and then poison them. One of these friends, whom Miss Sararat had persuaded to loan her 250,000 baht, went to lunch with her and then had a seizure, vomited and collapsed. Luckily, she didn't die, and she's the only known survivor of this poisoning spree. She was arrested on April the 25th after another wealthy friend died while on a trip with her. Siriporn Kanwong collapsed on a riverbank in Ratchaburi after going there with Miss Sararat to do a merit-making ceremony. Miss Sararat drove off, taking her handbag, jewellery, phone and money, and an autopsy revealed traces of cyanide in her body. Siriporn's mother had expressed her suspicion to police because Miss Sararat had only just made friends with her. When she was arrested, police found a bottle of cyanide in her home. The officer in charge of this case is Deputy National Police Chief Surachat Hakban, also known as Big Joke. You might recognise the name or his picture. He thinks that Miss Sararat must have had assistance in buying the cyanide. They discovered that her sister owns a pharmacy. They also discovered that there were 10 nurses and a Thai actress named Ice who had also recently purchased cyanide that had the same lot number as the cyanide found at Miss Sararat's house. They've all been summoned for questioning at Bangkok police station. Now, the Thai actress has admitted buying cyanide online for 3,000 baht on April the 25th, but she wanted it to kill monitor lizards that had been attacking her dogs at her house. The actress's mother said they still had the cyanide unopened and that they would bring it with them to the police station for questioning. I'm in the location here of a famous TV series they shot about a serial killer, and I'm going to go and visit another location, and then I'll give you some more clues, and then you can guess who this serial killer was and what the TV series was. And this is the hotel where this famous serial killer actually stayed when he was prowling around Bangkok in the 1970s. They used the hotel here as a location in the TV series as well, because it's got a very unique sort of architecture and interior. This is Nana's first boutique hotel. I'll reveal the answer a little bit later. Anyway, it's dark now in Lumpini Park, but it kind of fits, doesn't it? Because this is quite a dark case. So let's get into some more of the details. Miss Sararat had 2 kids with a former policeman called Vitun Rangsawitiporn. He was based at Ratchaburi Police Station, dismissed from the force and arrested for handling stolen goods, forging documents and assisting an offender after they found that he'd gone to Udon Thani to collect Miss Sararat after she'd poisoned her boyfriend. They took the boyfriend's car and then got a loan out on it using the car as collateral. Anyway, they released Mr. Rangsawitiporn on bail with an electronic tag because they couldn't find any direct evidence to link him to the murder. I'm sure the inquiries are ongoing. Anyway, the 35-year-old boyfriend had just had dinner with Miss Sararat, collapsed at a petrol station, got taken to hospital, then discharged but died the next day. Miss Sararat was 4 months pregnant with his child. Now there were 2 other murder victims who were police officers, and in this CCTV footage that was released, one of them, named Inspector Nipa, is with Miss Sararat outside a temple in Nakhon Pathom, and she's just been poisoned obviously. She collapses onto the floor and Miss Sararat is just standing there talking on the phone, offering no help whatsoever. But you wouldn't expect her to offer any assistance, would you? This is quite disturbing footage, as you can see. So I'm wondering, and you are too probably, how did she get these wealthy new friends to give her money? I mean, that's a lot of trust when you don't know someone for that long. But there was a line in the article and it says here, most of the victims were associated with Miss Sararat through pyramid schemes. Now, I'm sure you're familiar with pyramid schemes. I've met a couple of guys involved in this years ago, and quite frankly, they're not really nice people at all. They're the kind of people you wouldn't piss on them if they were on fire. It's all about face, status, boasting, one-upmanship, showing your wealth, all that kind of thing. So she would have had to look the part to get herself into these circles. She had a lot of credit card debt, so she probably spent a lot of money on looking like she was rich. Worms her way in with these people, and then after a while she would hit them up with a loan or offer them some investment in this, that or the other. These people in the pyramid schemes probably didn't have a problem giving her the money because they also want to show wealth, gain face, so wouldn't have a problem lending her, say, 250 grand. So that's probably how all this money started to get extracted from these wealthy people. I think it's a valid theory anyway. So a couple of more recent developments in this case over the last few days. police are on the trail of 78 million baht that passed through the bank accounts of Miss Sararat, and are also tracing 12 people who received payments from these bank accounts, and are investigating whether these 12 people were in any way involved in the murders. Also, an insurance agent has come forward and said that Miss Sararat had inquired about a 7 million baht life insurance policy on her boyfriend. The premium was 100,000 baht and she didn't take her up on it. Anyway, Miss Sararat, as of a couple of days ago, hasn't admitted any of the charges, and she's being held at the Central Women's Correctional Facility in Klong Prem Prison. So this whole business with the Thai actress buying cyanide online and her reasons for it was met with scepticism on social media. She bought the cyanide, she said, to kill monitor lizards that were harassing her dogs in her garden. She's having construction work done in her garden at the moment, and it backs onto a klong. Now everyone knows there are tons of monitor lizards in most of the klongs in Thailand, and she did provide video evidence to prove this. Anyway, the Bangkok Post ran the story, and if you're familiar with the Bangkok Post online, you'll also be familiar with the many comments that get posted on most of the news articles. And let's be honest, a lot of these comments are toxic, spiteful, offensive, real keyboard warrior stuff. They were alleging things like she was planning to become the next serial killer, she was planning to poison her ex-boyfriends. And there was another media post that suggested a connection between the cyanide and the death of her ex-manager 3 years ago. Herself and her mum appeared live on TV to explain the whole cyanide situation, and it wasn't a pretty sight. But then again, that's social media for you. People say disgusting things and hide behind their keyboards. And the hotel where they shot part of the Serpent TV series, and where Charles Sabraj himself stayed in the 1970s, is of course the famous Atlanta Hotel here at the bottom of Sukhumvit Soi 2. So if you do book a room here, tell them Bangkok Pat sent you, and you might just get something extra, a little bit special. So the government have announced upcoming regulations regarding cyanide use here in Thailand. The Department of Industrial Works have said that there are 14 official cyanide importers, and that they will have to now submit detailed information and purchase records on all individuals, businesses, retailers and factories who buy cyanide, and they will have to state their purpose of use. If they don't submit this information to the Royal Thai Police every 3 months, then they will lose their license. Now, I did a bit of digging online, and I found what I can only describe as cyanide cynics out there, and they're suggesting things like people are going to rush out and stockpile cyanide before the regulations come into force, and we might see a spate of copycat killings. And some have even suggested an upcoming cyanide pandemic. Will it get to the point where the government will be warning people not to leave drinks unattended in bars when they go for a piss or whatever, just in case they come back and it's been laced with cyanide? I'm not so sure about that, but it could get interesting. So that just about concludes our cyanide themed breaking news. The case is of course ongoing, and you can follow it in the news. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so, like, share, leave a comment. If you want to support me and support the channel, you can do so via the Buy Me a Coffee link on the screen, or there's also links to PayPal and Ko-fi in the description. That just leaves me to say thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you sooner than you think.